Hi everyone, it's Heidi from Flutter by Heidi. I'm Heidi Smith, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United Kingdom, and today I'm using the lovely Poinsettia Petals and beautiful Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper to create a fun Christmas card. So the paper I've got here is 12 by 12, and it is 2 sheets each of 6 designs, double-sided as always, and on the one side you've got lovely poinsettia images and the smaller images on the reverse of that one. A similar image here, but some lovely pine cones, lovely sort of, not quite holly berries but winter berries, and lovely wood texture, some gorgeous poinsettias in olive green and garden green, a lovely sort of filigree pattern, pine cones and pine branches, and then holly leaves and holly berries. So really useful. And with the poinsettia petals, there's actually some dies that coordinate, and they cut out this lovely poinsettia on the front here. So you don't need to fussy cut that, you can just use a die. Alternatively, you can obviously stamp and die cut as well. And these poinsettia petals are lovely sort of poinsettia builder. Now, those aren't at full size, they're about, I guess, almost, they're 65% on the front, but as you can see, they're much bigger images on the inside. And you've not only got the poinsettias, but you've got holly leaves and berries, and you've also got lovely fonts as well. And some super non-religious ones as well. There's a lovely thank you for making this a wonderful season. So actually nice to have a thank you card for sort of, for Christmas, but for somebody who's perhaps non-religious. Happy holidays, warm wishes from our home to yours. Always a great one to have from our home to yours for Christmas time. Anyway, lots of different sentiments in there, lots of little accents, and as I said, some dies that go with that as well. And you'll see another project of mine using some of those dies as well. So this is the card I'm making. So it's Christmas card making. I try and make things which you can make fairly easily in bulk, but that still give a bit of a wow. So this one sort of looks like sort of just a layered card, but when you open it up, each one just comes on the front, so you kind of get a bit of a sort of diorama kind of effect, and they just fold over the top there. So just a bit of fun, and using the lovely DSP, and that would obviously stand really well on a mantelpiece or a windowsill, without flopping all over the place. So let's get on with our card. So I'm using basic Whisper White, so I'm not using the thick Whisper White here. I'm just using standard Whisper White. And I'm going to work in centimetres. I've done it in inches, really simple measurements in inches. So you're cutting it on the short edge at 14.5 centimetres, and then you're cutting your card then to 25 centimetres. And then you're going to score at 2.5, which I've done on the right hand side here. Flip it around to move my inky blocks out of the way. 2.5, 7.5, 17.5, and 22.5. And then you're quite simply going to fold those in, just reinforce on the creases, fold on your score lines, and then that very front one is going to fold back on itself. So just reinforce those so that it folds really nice and flush. Like so. And then those fold together in the centre, create a lovely panelled card. So that's our card base. You're then going to need some pieces of cardstock, which is what I knocked onto the floor. So bear with me while I retrieve. Okay. So you are going to need, I'm going to use real red here. I used the garden green old olive before. So these two pieces are what are they? They're 4.5 by 14 centimetres, 2 of those. You want 2 pieces that are 14 by 2 centimetres. That's for the other two panels. You then want for your sentiment a piece that is 10 by 2.5, or and you want a piece that is 2 by 9.5. Okay, so that's all of our card, but I'm going to cut some DSP. So for the panels on the front, I've chosen 3 different pieces of DSP, and for the one on the front I'm just going to cut some pieces which are 1.5 centimetres by 13.5. So I'm just going to cut them at 1.5, and then trim those down to 13.5. Like so. My next piece, I'm going to use this lovely green here. So I'm just going to trim that down to 13.5 centimetres again. And then I want 2 pieces, and these are 4 centimetres. Then the final piece I want is for the middle at that back section. So I'm just going to actually take this. This is actually going to be 14 centimetres by 9.5 centimetres. Oh, I haven't cut that very straight. Let's have a look. Better. Okay. And then the last little bit that we need is some Whisper White for that centre panel. And I'm just going to cut a piece of Whisper White for the middle that's 7.5 by 12 centimetres. I'm just going to cut this in half and trim it down. So cut this to 7.5 and cut that down to 12 centimetres, and I've done that so that there's a wider border around it. You can see that lovely DSP all around. So let's pop all our pieces. I'm going to layer these up together. Just so I can get myself organised. Okay. All ready for gluing. It's ready for our stamping in a moment. So to create the focal image on the front, I've just taken a piece of scrap Whisper White. I've got my centre panel cut here, and these stamps are photopolymer. So if you've got a stamping pierce mat or a foam mat, then I would really recommend that you use that. Because it is, I'm going to be stamping off the sides. Grab yourself a little bit of scrap as well. And let's get stamping. So what I've done is I've mounted up some of my stamps already, because I was doing my sample, and I've used early espresso for the outer image, just not quite as harsh as black. And what I've done is I'm just going to stamp that in the corner, ink it up again, and do just a quarter turn so that those fit in between. Now looking at that early espresso, I think I might have stamped off before, but hey, here we go. And I've kept these in the same orientation. So I've already kind of lined those up, but because they're not exact, it doesn't matter if they don't line up perfectly. But you get the idea there. Turn your card around even. Let's try it stamped off. See how that looks. Well, it would help if I stamped in the right colour, wouldn't it? Okay, so in that case, let's do this one in real red then. And I might find I even prefer it. Okay, let's see what we think. Okay, still looks poinsettia-like. Yep, let's go with that. This is what happens when you have more than one ink pad open at a time and you're not concentrating. Happens to the best of us. Now obviously the other option is just to get another piece of card. I'm then just going to come in with some garden green and the pine branch and just add a bit of interest to the top corners there. Just overlapping those slightly. There we go, there's our panel. All that's left is our sentiment, so we'll try and get real red properly in here. Pop that to one side just to dry, and I'm going to grab my sentiment piece here, and rather than try and make sure I stamp right in the middle, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use our picker punch just to punch the flag ends to start off with on this. I usually need to stand up for these. I didn't do that one quite straight, so I might need to just even that up slightly. It'll do, okay. Now we want to stamp it. This is what happens when it goes a little bit wrong. Okay, so I've got my Merry Christmas on one of our blocks here, and you can just eyeball that into the middle there. And as I say, I find by punching it first and then stamping it, I generally get it in a better place than if I just stamped it to start off with. Now we're going to do on our other scrap of card, we're going to pop our create our focal point. So this time I will use early espresso. So I'm just going to come in at the bottom end of this piece of card, not right in the middle, but up a little way. And again, come in with the real red. And just pop those in. Create our poinsettia image. Pop my ink pads away. I'm going to punch the image. It just fits nicely into our 2-inch punch. So just line it up. You're going to just trim the edges off very slightly, and then I'm going to come in with a 2 1/4 inch punch for the surround. Okay, so now we're just up to popping everything together. So I'm just adding our poinsettia to the centre of our die. I'm going to punch the ends of my banner punch. Just using those channels to line that up. And pop that in on the front there. So it's not perfect because I didn't quite get my banner right, but I will rectify that shortly. And then we're into our layers. So just popping those on, hopefully reasonably centred. Obviously, if you prefer, you can put your panels onto your card first and then add your DSP. Either would work. I'm not sure about this on the red. Maybe I should have gone for the green. I'm not sure. What do we think? I always like the red and the green together. It's that sort of Christmas berries, sort of holly and everything all coming together. It might have been nice to add a bit of green as a layer. You never quite know till you put it together sometimes. I'm going to add my panel to the centre of the card. Just have a look at it and just see if it's kind of got an orientation that you prefer. So that panel's going to go in there. I'm going to pop my, and all of these are going in flat. Again, with Christmas cards, I do try and make them so that they fold reasonably flat if they're going into the post. We're lucky we have a large letter option in the UK, so it will fit well into that. Again, just add I'll use it the last of my snail. And obviously, if you wanted to, you could add an extra layer to the inside of the card. I haven't, again, just to sort of stop that too much bulk. Okay. And then just add the panel to the front here. And the last one onto the front on the foldback panel. Not quite straight, just so I haven't pressed that down. There we go. And then all that remains is to pop these on. Now I am going to use my Seal Plus for this. So I decide where you're going to pop your sentiment, and I'm just adding the glue just to the left hand side of there, so just down below, sort of halfway, and then repeat on the other side for our banner, and just layer that up in the centre. And there we have a pair of foldback gatefold cards to start our Christmas crafting, with some interesting different poinsettias. I don't know, I quite like that red one. What do you think? Let me know. If you'd like to purchase any of the items you've seen today, pop along to my shop. I'd love to be your demonstrator. HeidiSmith.stampinup.net, or go to my blog and follow the links on there for all of the products that I've used today. And as I've said, if you haven't kept up with the measurements, I will add them onto there in both centimetres and inches for you. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and come again soon. Bye bye.